Welcome back to Coffee Talks with Jared Jackson.
I had this horrifying dream one night. I was working at this job. In the dream, this is in the dream. I was working at this job, and it was the current job. I don't work at that job now, but I was working at that job. And at the time I was working at that job, I never thought I was gonna, get out of it. I thought maybe there was this little thing in the back of my head all the time that would tell me you're gonna be stuck here forever, And one night I had this dream that I was interacting with friends of mine and everybody's talking and it was like this reunion thing, where you meet up with all your old buddies and they're like, "Where are you at? What are you doing, man?" And I remember telling them in the dream, I'm still working here, still, and I kind of told them my plans to get out of it, but it was such a horrible. I remember in the dream feeling, I got this shame, this feeling of you didn't do it. As we're all introducing ourselves, reintroducing and reacquainting ourselves in this dream with each other, me and my friends, they're all telling me the things that they're doing, and I remember telling them, yeah, I'm still working there, still living here, still doing this, still doing that same thing. That was just, I think that's probably one of my just greatest fears, is to not make any kind of forward progress. And 20 years later, someone meets up with you or sees you out and they say, what are you doing? Where are you at these days? And you tell them, still with the same freaking company, still doing the same thing, and they might ask you, weren't you working? I thought you were working on something. I thought that you had something going on. What happened to this business thing you were gonna, and you're like, yeah, still working on that. We're still going, still trying things. I'm still thinking about stuff. But you just know that you're kind of procrastinating, in your head. If you're telling people stuff like that, deep down inside, nothing's working. Nothing's happening. You're not trying hard enough. You're not smart enough. You have all these fears. You're not smart enough. You're an idiot. You don't know what you're doing. You're gonna die here. That dream has stuck with me my whole life. And I quit that job at a certain point, It wasn't because of that dream that I quit that job, but I remember waking up from that dream and going, you cannot in 20 years ever meet anyone that you've known and they ask you where you are at and you tell them, I'm still in the same place. I'm still doing the same thing. I still have the same hopes and dreams that I have not made happen. I've still got all these things. I'm 20 years older. Okay, I told you all this stuff 20 years ago. Haven't done any of it. That dream shook me. I remember waking up and thinking, you know how you have deja vu sometimes? And you don't know? You're like, I've been here before. I've done this before. If that dream that I had become a deja vu thing, that was what I was terrified of the most. If that dream, one day, 20 years from now, I would have actually been standing in front of someone and going, and then I'd think, I've been here before. I've done this before. But it was just a dream that I had, I know two things. Well, I know two things. I know that I want to make progress. I know I have to. Everywhere, if I'm working for a company or for a job, which I'm still doing right now. I still have a job, I don't want to be an employee, for the rest of my life. That's not anywhere in my plan. That's not what I see. And the other thing that I know is that I want my family to be very close to me, and I want them to be around me, and I want them to be, present. So, the fear, people say don't be afraid of things, right? Don't be scared. I think there's a certain thing as a healthy fear. And I think fear is a great tool that you should use. You shouldn't use fear in the way fear wants you to be used by it. Like fear wants you to be frozen. Fear wants you to be paralyzed. I think you should use fear as this powerful tool of motivation. Something that's going to get you scared. Something that's going to make your heartbeat go, and something that's going to make you talk to yourself. Something that's going to make you wake out of this life dream that you might be in and go, I don't want to be here in 20 years. I don't want to be in this same spot. I don't want to introduce myself to these people and say, still doing this. I never changed. You don't want to die in one spot, never having moved. I remember telling a friend of mine, I can't die here. I can't die here. That was the only thing I was concerned about. I don't want to live and die in this one place in life. This town. I don't want to live and die here. I want to move all over the world. I want to live in different spots. I want to meet different people. I remember when I was a lot younger, that was my main fear. I just don't want to. I would drive by cemeteries and I'd see these graves. And I even know people now who have lived and died in the same place. And it's just a rock sticking up out of the ground, and that human being lived and died there. I was always terrified of that. And to a certain extent, I'm still scared of that, but I don't. Now my fear is that I'm going to live and die, and I'm going to have to watch my parents and my brothers and my sisters, or they're going to have to watch me live and die in the same spot. The fear is not so much anymore. It's not about me, I guess, is the point that I'm trying to make. It's not about me. I don't want to have to keep reintroducing myself to people and go, still here. Still doing the same thing. Yeah. They gave me Employee of the Month award, patted me on the back, gave me a 2-cent raise this year, so, doing good. Still have my hopes and dreams, but I haven't been working on them. I'm terrified of that. And it keeps me awake at night. It keeps me dreaming, but I'm also taking action. It's when you have horrible deja vu, when your nightmare of a dream becomes your reality because you let fear, instead of using fear and using it to push you and motivate you, you let it paralyze you and you procrastinate because of it, and you die that way, and you die right there, and you were a great employee, you were a good little servant, that's my fear. Kind of a great way to come back into coffee talks with you guys. It's not a sad, depressing thing that we're talking about here. It's not. You should use this for motivation. We all know people who have lived and died, and everybody has dreams, right? You look online, you see people living whatever we think the dream is, right? They're probably not that happy, but it's the perception of it. You see them driving the car, you see them on their boat, you see them in their beautiful house on the hills, they're just sipping wine all the time and they're just happy, right? Probably not true, okay? But still, the perception of that, like, we all want that for our lives, okay? We want to be around our family and friends. We don't want to have to answer to a boss. We don't want to have all the stress and the worry of paying bills. How am I going to make ends meet, right? We don't want those things. But somehow, we still choose those. Or a lot of people choose that. That life of never doing it, never trying, never going for it, being scared. If you were to pretend that you're floating out in space and you just look down on the planet, it would all seem so ridiculous to you, the things that you're afraid of, probably. You know, if you're afraid to go and ask, let's just use this for an example. If you're afraid to go and ask your boss for a raise, you're like, oh, he's busy, he scares me, he's not gonna say yes. Like, that person is a human being. If you're afraid to go and talk to that person, just say, hey, I need more money. Okay? Let's just use that as an example. If you were floating in outer space and you're looking down on the earth, imagine how stupid how petty of a thing it would be to have worried about what your boss was going to say if you'd have just asked. If you would have just maybe gone and watched more educational videos about how to invest in real estate or how to buy stocks, you'd have done any of that. Just think about how simple those things would look, just up in space looking down on Earth, the quiet of space, and you're just there going, why did I never try? I should have just tried. I should have just gone for it. What the hell was I doing? Didn't even try. Don't let that be your life. It keeps me up. I don't want to have that dream ever again, where I'm introducing myself to people and I'm going, yeah, still working the same job. I hate saying that. I hate that more than anything, and I've said it plenty of times to people. Yeah, I'm still working there, but this is probably my last year. You know those people? Okay, I'm that guy sometimes. I hate that. That drives me nuts. I don't want to be that person. I can do much better than that. Life is short. One of the most terrifying phrases that I heard recently from someone, he said, one day you wake up and you're 60 and it's over. That was the phrase. And it just stuck. I heard it just recently. He said, you're doing all these things, this, that, you have these plans and dreams, and one day you wake up and you're 60 and it's over. And that's not true, right? But the phrase, you're 60 and it's over. There's some measure of truth to that. As far as your hopes and dreams are concerned, your time being up, like you say, I still want to hang out with all of my family and my parents and these people. They might be dead when you're 60. They might be gone now. You don't have those moments anymore, So that's the whole point of that sentence. And one day you wake up and you're 60 and it's all over. Be afraid of that. Have a healthy fear of that. Let that fear be a motivation for you. Let that fear be a tool. Use it. Okay? Don't procrastinate and get scared and get nervous. Take a deep breath. Calm yourself down. And aggressively attack this life that you're living. Okay, look at things from the perspective of outer space, how simple things are from up there. It's one of the things astronauts say. They say, we look down on borders. When we're out in space, they look down on the borders and they say, why are we doing all this nonsense? Why can't we just love one another? Everything seems so simple from up there. Try to use that as a perspective of your life. Simplify things. Things are not nearly as hard as you make them up to be in your head. You can put some effort in. You should try to live that life that you want to live. You want the house, you want the car, the boat. Try. Do something. Just try something out. There's so many examples of people around us who try. We know those people. We see them and we're like, God, why? Why are you wishing? Why don't you just try? Do that. Put some effort into it. If you're only putting an hour of effort into your dreams a week or a day or a month or whatever, you're not doing it enough. I'm thinking about these things all the time, 24/7. They're on my mind. I'm not putting an hour into my dreams. Coffee Talks with Jared Jackson. I'm getting out of here. We'll catch you guys in the next video.